actions. Hi, well, I'm Mike Doherty, and this wonderful lady sitting next to me is Marj Easterling, who's one of my good friends. We've been friends a long time. We actually met, she was my dental hygienist, and then I did some legal work for her, setting up her t-shirt business here, and
my trademark.
That's right, all this
Copyright.
stuff. That's right, Big Lick String Printing. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. And so we've been friends for years. And when I found out I had Huntington's, I found out I had to retire, and she was one of my clients. So when I told her that I had Huntington's and was retiring, that she totally flipped out, told me that her dad had Huntington's, which I did not know. And so one of the best things that happened to me after getting diagnosed was being able to, my wife Emily and I sat down with Marj and we had dinner over at the Green Goat, just to give them a shout out.
Yes.
Good food,
Great
good suds.
food.
But anyway, and this Marj totally, just walked us through, what it's like and what it's not like. And, so that mostly Huntington's is something you can manage and it's something you're just going to live with. And that,
life happens.
Yes.
Everybody has something.
So, first of all, I hope that, if you've just been diagnosed, go, hopefully somebody like Marj who can sit down and talk to you about, what it's actually like and also what it's not like, and that, mostly it's things like, remodeling your bathroom.
Right. But probably they're not going to know anybody like me because it's kind of rare.
Well, that's right. You are unique.
Yes. Well, I'm unique anyway, but I'm just saying.
But yeah, Huntington's is very rare. And
yeah, we had no idea when that it was in our family, because it is genetic and it's dominant. So you have a 50-50 chance.
Right.
And but we didn't realize it was in our family. My grandmother was never diagnosed with Huntington's. We thought that she had a stroke and just never got better. And when my dad started showing symptoms, like the physical symptoms, he had been diagnosed with agoraphobia and depression and anxiety for years before he really showed the physical symptoms. And we just, didn't realize that was part of the mental changes that were Huntington's, because, the deterioration of the neurons or whatever. But looking back now, it was evident, and he just wasn't diagnosed. So my grandmother had another brother who was a twin, and he was misdiagnosed with schizophrenia. And so, because it's such a rare disease, it is misdiagnosed a lot.
Sure.
Once we realized what was going on with my dad, I just thought my dad was getting old, because my grandmother had all the same movements. And so I was like, oh, he's just getting old. Not realizing that that's not normal. But I guess it was just normal for us. So once he was diagnosed, then I moved back up here from New Orleans. And that's when he was diagnosed when I was in dental hygiene school. And so my mom was a nurse for the VA, and she worked nights and I worked days, and we switched off so that we could keep my dad at home. And we went to the national conference. Have you been to one of the Huntington's conferences yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
This year's was in Boston. Next year's is in New Orleans, actually.
I would definitely recommend that you hit that one.
Yeah, we're going to go.
Just saying.
Yeah.
That was really enlightening for us. Because you have no idea what you're dealing with. And when you look online, all you see is like the really, the nightmare stuff that's like, there's nothing in between.
Right.
So the conference was really helpful for all of us. My sisters and I went to that, and it was interesting because when at the place where they had it, it was this big hotel, and they had this great buffet spread, and they have like a big fruit salad, and then they had these like little tongs, and I'm like, do they not know that people at Huntington's cannot operate these tongs? Like, really? Like, why do you have any big spoons maybe? But it was just, it's all these little accommodations that people don't think of.
Right.
So what kind of accommodations have you made so far?
Well,
like just the little things?
Well, mostly, I spill things all the time.
Oh, that's called a Huntington's
Right.
moment.
So but one of my experiments is I'm in the market for like a coffee mug that won't flip over, and I think I finally found one. Yeti, the guys who make the thermoses, they also make a coffee mug that's like big and heavy and anyway, I like it.
They have, we went through that too. And what we would do is we would go to restaurants and we would all order drinks in to-go cups. So that way when my dad inevitably would knock his drink over, it wouldn't spill, but it also wouldn't draw attention to the fact that he was the only one that had one. So, just little things like that would help. But coffee is another.
Yeah, we also do that with the to-go cups. And on Martin's recommendation, we got rid of all the rugs in our house.
Yes, absolutely.
That's because falling is a big problem. And luckily, I don't fall. Well, I guess it depends on who you ask. I don't feel like I fall a lot, but I guess other people who freak out more. But my Huntington's was causing me to fall. I don't know, once a week maybe. But now I've made just some changes, just like in how I walk. Like now I just walk with a wider gait. That helps. And I don't try to move as fast all the time. And so that's really helped with. Yeah, but you were saying that your dad would get like hung up on the rug?
Yes, absolutely. We learned that too, that we needed to get rid of all the rugs. In fact, it was so strange. My mom bought a rug not too long ago. My dad has been passed for almost 5 years, and there was a rug in the house, and I was like, what is this rug doing? What are we going to do with this? And then I realized, I guess we can have those now. But so that was a change, because we had a lot of rugs all over the place. But the other thing was, with your walk having that wide gait, my dad would he would kind of like kick his leg out when he walked, which is
I do that
pretty
too.
normal for Huntington's.
Yeah, to the side.
I know we realized somebody's like, get a walker when it was pretty progressed. Well, just get a walker. No, you can't get. Then he kept kicking his leg out and would,
Against the walker.
Yeah, against the walker and cut his leg. But I'm like, just let him do what he wants to do. He'll be fine. He would fall all the time, but he was a big guy. He had a lot of padding, so he'd just kind of bounce right back up and play pinball down the hall, or we just went with it.
So let me ask you about, you said that this was extremely hard on your mother, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like it was a lot harder on my mom than on us children, especially for me, because my mom, that's her mate.
Right.
They're supposed to grow old together. I don't know. It was a lot different for me. I have another kid to take care of, so I was kind of used to that. But it was different for my mom. My dad had always my dad was brilliant with numbers and financing. And so we knew that there was an issue when he overdrew the checking account. That had never happened. And then he got on this thing where he would order stuff off of late night TV. Like sewer cleaner. Like, we don't have the sewer. Like, what are you doing, Daddy? So he just would order all kinds of stuff. He ordered a four-wheeler because he didn't have a license anymore. And we live out in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking rural, like up on the side of a mountain, gravel driveway, 2 miles to the nearest little country store. But he ordered a four-wheeler, and we didn't know anything about it till this big giant box truck shows up in the driveway and drops it off. And I'm like, what are we going to do with that? He goes, I'm going to ride it to the store and get a nice fountain drink. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're not doing that. So we had a lot of those moments. And he would I had to bribe him a lot to get him to do stuff, because he got a little stubborn.
How did your dad deal with, loss of, like, not being able to drive anymore and that kind of stuff?
Well, before he was diagnosed, he had a much harder time because he didn't know what was going on,
right.
And he really thought he was losing his mind.
Right.
And so we had a lot of very challenging moments where he just wanted to end it all, and he was so incredibly depressed and couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And once he was diagnosed and we all kind of came together and said, okay, this is what we're dealing with, this is, and we, thank God we asked my dad in the very beginning, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to, especially like when you're talking as the disease progresses, if something else doesn't get you first.
Right.
I'm just saying. Most
Yes.
people, it's going to be a heart attack or whatever.
Right.
But like with his mom in a nursing home being undiagnosed, as that progression happened, they didn't know how to deal with it. And they're like, oh, well, do we want to put her on a ventilator? And my dad was like, we do not want to, that's not what I want. I want to be at home. So we were lucky that we had him to make all those decisions when he still was able to.
Yes.
Which I would highly recommend, just saying.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
So that's good advice.
we should all make those decisions anyway. But so that worked out good. I would strongly recommend that. Being a lawyer, I'm sure you have all that under control.
Yes. That was one of the first things I did.
Yes.
Get all that lined up. But
Yeah, because it really does make a difference. And it takes that stress off of your family,
Right.
because you don't want them to have to make that choice.
Right.
So, and I think that's part of, my mom was a nurse, so it was easier for her to, obviously,
understand that.
right. But yeah, she had a hard time with it at first. But it worked out.
Well, if you enjoyed today's video, please like it and forward it to everybody you know and leave positive comments. Thanks.